This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make it with Squarespace. Hey Wisecrack, Jared here. For those of you following our South Park podcast Respect Our Authority, you know we've been reflecting on how this season is focused more on people's reaction to our modern cultural cluster rather than the actual events themselves. Well, this week the show commented on people's reaction to something very close to our hearts, South Park itself. It makes me feel old saying this, but many of you may not remember a little movie called South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut because it's almost 20 years old. This episode artfully echoes the movie, but this time things are a little different. Is South Park showing signs of a moral crisis? Well, let's find out. For those of you who aren't caught up on this season, Kyle falls for Cartman's girlfriend Heidi, but after a brief flirtation, Heidi kicks Kyle to the curb, returns to Cartman's sweaty, stubby-armed embrace, and starts to match her bloated bow right down to his trademark assholery.
Judge a special needs science fair? No thanks.
Let's start the discussion with Heidi and Cartman brawling in the hallway. Kyle goes to break up the fight, and of course, everyone hates that he ruined the fun.
Shut up, Kyle. You sound like your mom.
From that point on, Kyle is the butt of 1,000 jokes, until he thinks he's figured out what's caused such a culture of meanness at school. His former favorite show, Terrance and Phillip. Those two Canadians have kept on farting into old age, and have even tooted their way into a brand new Netflix original series. The new show is a hit, but Kyle hates it, because having been metaphorically farted on in school, he finds himself sympathizing with the people getting farted on in the show.
For the first time, I feel kind of bad for the person being farted on.
Rather than letting those loose-bowed loonies continue poisoning the hearts and minds of children, Kyle takes a stand. He organizes an activist group called Millennials Against Canada. His protest leads him to shutting down the show, and eventually it goes all the way to the president. Garrison tells Kyle to stop the protest, but he won't. And Kyle eventually gets Garrison literally turned on
Jeez, I got a little chub.
by the idea of nuking Canada. Now, if that plot sounds familiar, congratulations, you, like us, have watched a lot of South Park. Turns out those jokes about Kyle being like his mom weren't just empty insults. Kyle's protest mirrors the behavior of his mother in South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Just as Sheila created Mothers Against Canada to protest the obscenity of the Terrance and Phillip movie, Kyle has created Millennials Against Canada to protest Terrance and Phillip's new Netflix show. The parallels are more than just conceptual. They lift entire scenes from the movie.
We can't believe that a movie with some foul language would piss you off so much.
Because it's evil!
Can I finish? Please, can I finish? Okay, I'm finished.
That's all you know is how to be mean.
That's
and-
not a... Can I finish, please?
Because you were all raised on it yourselves.
Please, can I finish? All right, I'm finished.
On one level, this is South Park's way of playfully comparing millennial hostility toward offensive media to the parents of the 90s who blamed issues like drug use and Columbine on everything from heavy metal to South Park. But there's something else going on here. The South Park movie features a movie within a movie, Terrance and Phillip, Asses of Fire. It was a meta stand-in for the South Park movie itself. Just as Kyle and company were witnessing a cruder R-rated version of an already obscene TV show, we, the audience, were similarly consuming a cruder R-rated version of an already obscene TV show. While parents were protesting South Park in real life, parents in the movie protested Terrance and Phillip. The Canadian duo has always been a riff on how people who've never watched South Park characterize the show as nothing but fart and poop jokes. The thing is, South Park is far from Terrance and Phillip these days. South Park has gotten increasingly topical and specific over the years, with the occasional return to their roots.
Alexa, add Big Hairy Balls to my shopping list.
Okay, I've added Big Hairy Balls to your shopping list.
That means that old Terrance and Phillip, despite sharing initials with South Park creator Trey Parker, aren't a perfect parallel to the show itself. But the idea that both shows are objects of both love and scorn in their respective universes holds up. So with Terrance and Phillip Asses of Fire, Matt and Trey were asking us to go along with them as they wonder about their place in the cultural landscape. Were they to blame back then? Their answer was a resounding no. Now, in the turbulent times of 2017, they're doing it again. But this time the answer of to whether or not they're implicated in society's ills is not so clear. Once Kyle realizes that the person getting farted on has feelings too, he finds the show cruel and offensive. On one hand, Kyle's growing distance from Terrance and Phillip is a commentary on how millennials' newfound awareness has rendered old school South Park humor no longer relevant, which leaves Matt and Trey feeling as old as Terrance and Phillip look. On the other hand, this is the beginning of the show's attempt at self-evaluation. Kyle takes his concern to the new vice principal, Strong Woman.
You see, there's a culture at this school that embraces meanness, and I believe now it comes from a Canadian TV show. All the boys watch it. I did too. We all laughed while they farted on innocent people's heads. The thing is, I never felt for the person being farted on. Until now.
There's no shortage of think pieces that suggest that South Park may have fostered this culture of meanness. But Strong Woman disagrees.
You want to blame farts? That seems kind of ridiculous, doesn't it?
What?
I mean, it's a slippery slope when we start pointing the finger for our own shortcomings.
She's making a very salient point here, one that we can dig deeper into by again returning to Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. As the war with Canada rages, Kyle runs into his mother. She says it was all for him, but Kyle doesn't see it that way.
I'm doing very important things.
But Mom, you never took the time to talk to me. Whenever I get in trouble, you go off and blame everybody else. But I'm the one to blame. Deal with me.
Sheila has started an entire war so that she could avoid confronting the fact that she was simply a bad parent who didn't pay attention to what her child needed. Just like his mom, Kyle brings about horrible things, not because of his principles, but because of his self-absorbed motivations.
What do I want? I want a world where laughter doesn't come at someone else's expense. Where people can live freely without fear of being farted on. I want a world where you aren't ridiculed for trying to help. A world where a nice girl that I liked isn't turned into another Eric Cartman!
Here, Kyle admits the real reason for his actions, the shortcomings he was trying to hide. So if Sheila was protesting the Terrance and Phillip movie to cover her own failings as a parent, and Kyle is doing it to hide his feelings of having lost Heidi to Cartman, what does that say about South Park the show, since Kyle is so often the voice of the show?
I've been thinking, how did shamelessness get to this? Did it start with fat people on scooters? Or did the bar get lowered way before that? And then I started thinking, maybe it was us. I don't know, but maybe somehow we lowered the bar a long time ago. And now we're all sitting here in the stink of it all.
Well, maybe it's this. Maybe Kyle's sadness at losing Heidi, who has basically turned into a female version of Cartman, anti-Semitism and all, mirrors Matt and Trey's sadness at creating a show that may have spawned a few real-life Cartmans. They've always prided themselves on making fun of everyone equally, but now do they just come off like out-of-touch old people farting on minorities?
Here, I'll give you 2 pesos.
Now, just to be clear, I love South Park and hate censorship, but this critical look in the mirror also reflects the show's identity crisis. After a failed attempt at full-on satirical serialization, we're now in the midst of a season full of ups and downs and a mix of tones. The episodes range from Terrance and Phillip style fart jokes, to failed political satires, to successful ones, and episodes that don't make a lot of sense. Should they be a political show? Do they even want to? Can they still be funny if people are now concerned that people they're farting on have feelings? Are we truly in a
post-funny era of satire?
Knowing that Matt and Trey find a lot of 2017 to be miserable, just like the rest of us, it's interesting that unlike Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, they aren't giving themselves a free pass. Now, we don't know how that evaluation is going to play out, but the episode ends on a real cliffhanger. What comes after the bombs land on Canada? Well, we'll just have to twiddle our fingers until the season finale. So, what do you think, Wisecrack? Do you think the show is getting maudlin in its old age, looking back on its past like a bleary-eyed former football state champion? Or do Matt and Trey just not give a shit? Maybe we're overthinking it. Either way, let us know what you think, and as always, peace. Thanks for watching, Wisecrack. One thing you can never overthink is your website. Whether you're hoping to show off your art or start a new business, look no further than Squarespace. You can start your free trial today and get 10% off your first purchase when you use the offer code QUICKTAKES. Squarespace makes it easy to get an exciting, professional-looking website in minutes. With their designer templates and an all-in-one platform, you don't need to know a thing about coding to create something beautiful. So head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch your site, go to squarespace.com/QuickTakes and use the offer code QUICKTAKES to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Well, that's all for me. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that bell. Catch y'all next time. Peace.